Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So let's go to the Fresno Bee, where by God, look at what they've got here. It says, have a cell phone against your ear? Well, you should consider putting it down. Now, for years I've been telling people, and a lot of people have called me kind of crazy, because I've said that RF, no matter what form it's in, radiation, my friends, is cumulative. RF is a form of radiation, radio frequency. And the cell phone craze, while extremely convenient on the one hand, we've never truly measured the health effects of saturating ourselves with so much microwave energy. Really, I mean, think about this. We saturate ourselves how many different ways? Whether it be cell phones, smart meters, Wi-Fi, you name it, cordless phones. It just goes on and on. We saturate ourselves with this stuff, and we just don't understand the consequences of this. I do. And that's only because I spent a career in that industry. And I worked very closely with handheld radios for a long time, over 20 years. And in that time, now when I hold a handheld radio, if I'm holding one and not a handset that's hooked to the radio, but the handset, or the radio itself, and I key that radio, my joints ache. Because over time, that RF has caused like an arthritic condition and a sensitivity to that. So if I'm in and around a transmitter, my joints start to ache. I feel all weird because I've just been so exposed to it over the years. I know personally from life experience that RF is cumulative. Now people say, Joe, come on, man. I mean, it's just a tiny little cell phone. And even if you're talking about microwatts or milliwatts, when you're holding a transmitter or transceiver, which is what your cell phone is, it's a transceiver. If you hold that up to your face, hold that up to your head, and you're putting a transmitter directly on your head, it will do damage over time. Much as a microwave will cook your food, so too will you cook your brain and the surrounding tissue. You'll do damage to your bones. And so now the cell phone companies are like, well, baby, okay, well, you got to hold them a quarter-inch away from your head. A quarter-inch away from your head. Yes. Other people will say, well, you know what? You just go with a Bluetooth because it's so much smaller. But the thing is you're sticking it right in your ear. So it doesn't matter if it's so much smaller. You're putting it so much closer. That's not necessarily the best thing to do. Now, I'm not fear-mongering over this technology. Hell, I have my smartphone, and I carry it around just because it is damn convenient. And I'm willing to accept the risk, understanding the dangers that are present. My problem with the whole thing is it wasn't articulated to you, and that's a problem. Now, I tried to articulate it to people, and a lot of people have changed their habits as a result of some of the broadcasts that I've done and other things. But I'll tell you this, 99.9% of people will just say, okay, you know what? I learned it. I understand it. I accept the risk, much like I do. But you still have to be given that choice. And that's the problem, is we keep ceding our control of these very important decision points in our lives to other people and other organizations, other companies, other governments. That doesn't matter what. We're pushing off our responsibility on other people when really we shouldn't, because look, it's to our detriment. Fresno Bee says, put your cell phone down and keep it away from your pillow. Now the California Department of Public Health is advising this. Smartphone use continues to increase in the United States, especially among children. And the health department has said some people and health professionals have concerns about the radio frequency energy emitted from cell phones. Duh. The scientific community has not reached a consensus on the risk of cell phone use. Of course, they have not. Because think about it for a second, folks. Think about if all of a sudden science came out and said, okay, wireless communications is bad for you. And we recommend that we do something different. That perhaps we go back to a wired society. You know, and that's just one of many. It's the 21st century. Look at, we have AI now, and basically in the next 20 years, human labor is going to be obsolete. So I'm sure we can come up with better solutions to this communications conundrum. But the last thing that we need to be doing, folks, is radiating ourselves. We do it all the time. Look at Fukushima. Look at all these nuke plants. You know, it's funny because I see a lot of people downplay the foreign policy game that's going on. And they say, you know, well, Kim Jong-un, you know, that guy can't hit the broadside of a barn with his nukes. And the thing you have to come to realize is it doesn't matter if he hits the broadside of a barn. He doesn't have to. He only has to put it 300 miles up in the air. He puts it 300 miles above the barn, and he's taken out the barn and the 500-acre farm and the rest of the surrounding town or county because that EMP just took it out. Oh, but wait, there's more. Because you see, we have all these nuke plants here in the United States that if an EMP does happen, I question these private companies being able to properly shield them from EMP. I don't think that they have. I don't think that they would be able to. And let me tell you something, folks. All of these industries and our government doesn't exactly have the best track record at keeping your best interest in mind or being the central focus of their efforts, your best interest, right? Which would really, if you think about it, would be your health. But that's not what we have here. What we have here is a culture of convenience, an extremely profitable culture of convenience, might I add. Take a look at the iPhone. Take a look at Apple. Take a look at Apple's spaceship new headquarters, which caught what I think they said the final tally is going to be upwards of $5 billion to build this. Now, a lot of companies would probably say, wow, that's a lot of money. How could some company spend $5 billion on their headquarters? When you have a cash reserve of almost $1 trillion, which is what Apple has, $5 billion is a drop in the bucket. And this place is unlike any other place that's ever been built. It's an unbelievable building. Unbelievable technology. I mean, it really is a feat of human accomplishment. But at what cost? What cost? You know, what's the profit margin on an iPhone? How much are they making when they're having it manufactured in China and shipped over here? And then how many millions of people own iPhones? You know, or Droids or any other smartphone? And how often are you on it? Every day. You know, even with handheld radios, you're not on it every day, all the time. And as long as I'm not transmitting, that's not entirely bad. It's when I'm transmitting, that's the bad part. When I'm transmitting and it's up by my ear. So in this case, for the smartphone, that's when I'm making a call. But I'm also holding this thing that's transmitting 24/7 because of that data link that these smartphones possess. And that is the true danger of the smartphone, is because this thing is transmitting and receiving all of the time, 24/7. When you're sleeping, it's transmitting. When you're holding it and surfing, it's transmitting. When you're on the phone, it's transmitting. It's transmitting all of the time. So you're constantly exposing yourself to harmful radiation, albeit micro doses, you're still doing it. That, my friends, is the danger that we face now that we didn't before. It is constant exposure to this. And even up until 2010 or so, 2012, phones still, it was a flip phone. You sent your text or whatever, and you shut it, and that's it. It didn't transmit 24/7. It's only been in the last 5 years or so that these smartphones have really taken hold. And it's not just your smartphone, it's all these other smartphones and the cell towers and everything else. Folks, we are saturating ourselves. And I'm telling you, even though you don't see perhaps noticeable health effects in the short run, and I'm not convinced that we're not seeing short run health effects, it's just we have not identified or correlated certain health effects with RF exposure from smartphones. But over the long run, you can guarantee that there will be widespread health problems associated with this. One day it will come out. It's already starting to do that. That's why they're sounding the alarm. But one day it's going to come out. Wow, these things are really bad. And it's going to end up killing millions of people. If it hasn't already. I don't know. These are things that are not quantified yet. But I'm hoping and I'm praying that there are maybe universities or nonprofits that take the initiative and start diving into the dangers associated with these smartphones. And again, I carry one myself, but I make that choice based on my life experience and doing the research. And I'm willing to take that risk. And others, like I said, 99.9% of you out there would certainly take the risk. But you deserve the choice. No different than chemtrails in the sky, right? When did they ask your permission to geoengineer? Did they? Of course they didn't. They didn't give you the choice. And my friends, that's wrong. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. #WakeTheFlockUp. Have a great day, everybody.